Hey, what's up? This is Matt with Let's Talk Music, and I am here with Aiden and Shane of Slaves to Humanity, joining us from Orange County, California today. Fellas, how we doing?
We're doing great. What's up, Matt?
Oh, just living the dream, man.
Fuck yeah. That's
Sitting
what
here just drinking a beer and talking to
fuck yeah.
musicians. Can't ask
Fuck
for
yeah.
better.
That's the dream. That's our dream.
So, tell me a little bit about yourselves, guys. Be honest with you, it's been a very long week at work, so I haven't been able to do much, you know, reading on you. So, just
No worries.
tell me about how Slaves of Humanity became.
Yeah, so Aiden actually had an original lineup of guys. They had a falling out, but he still had a couple shows coming up. What was it, at the House of Blues or the Whiskey?
The whiskey too. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was the two shows.
So me and Nathan, our bass player, we had our profiles on Bandmix, which we like to call just Tinder for bands because that's where just musicians can go to find other musicians to play with, and that's where Aiden found us.
Yeah.
And then met up, practiced together, had a good rehearsal, and then I pulled in Pierce. I knew Pierce from School of Rock Huntington Beach, which is another performance program that we used to do together, and that's how we all met.
Yeah, and from there we started writing and we met Ryan Shuck and Amir Durak from the band Orgy, and they helped us kind of learn how to record and build a sound and write, and so that we played around with them and released some singles with them, and we released our first single, Battleground, um, after it got played on KLOS, which is a big station out here in SoCal. Um, but it got played on KLOS, and so we got a lot of traction from that song, and so we released it. And after that, it was kind of it was COVID. After that, COVID hit, and we lost all the progress and everything, and now we're making our way, building it back up stronger, and it's been a lot more rewarding for us. And we got lucky enough to be introduced to Trevor Lukather, Steve Lukather's son, who now does all the production for our new tracks, and we super grateful for him and his wife Madison. They've taught us so far how to write and dress, and that's awesome. And we've just been lucky enough to work with him and have him on our team, and he's been just incredible with us. And now we're releasing our song, one of our first songs together, and we're super excited.
Yeah. And I really dig the new one that you guys came out with. It's Bully, and I mean, I guess in the press release it had the lyrics, and you can
Yeah,
really relate to the lyrics.
thank you so much. Yeah, I you know I grew up kind of I grew up getting really bullied. I was one of those kids that was I was pushed around. I was beat. There was a time where my some kids pinned me down and put my hand in a beehive, and shit like that, where it was really fucked up.
Yeah.
Um, and it made it hard for a long time to grow up kind of um, wanting to be out hanging out with people. And I always, when I was very little, I always loved being around people, and that was like I was a big extrovert, and for a little bit I wasn't, and it was hard. And it was because I was afraid that everybody that I was meeting was going to hurt me and attack me and treat me like garbage, and I didn't want to do that. But I got over it, and it was hard, but it was worth it, because as soon as I did, everything would fall into place for me, and it made me feel like there was a sense of accomplishment. And to be honest, I'm kind of proud of how I grew up, because without it, I don't think I'd be the same. And so that's really what the song's about, is about kind of fighting back whatever bullies you have, whether that's a external or internal kind of struggle that you're having. That's the point of the song, and that's the message, and that's what I really want to put out there for all the people who are bullied and who are attacked for just being who they are. And it's really just a big fuck you to all the people who think that it's acceptable to treat people like that, because it's not.
Dude, can we do like a virtual fist bump?
Fist bump. There we go.
That was a great explanation. And man, be honest with you, I'm sorry that that you went through that. And I feel sorry for people that do. I'm 46, so back in the day, if somebody bullied you, you either took it or you fought back, and like it wasn't you're gonna get shot forward or stabbed, you get your ass beat, you whip some ass, whatever, and that was it, and people, you punched the bully in the mouth, and everybody at school was like, "Holy shit, you're the man!"
Respected you. Yeah. I
Right.
mean, that was that like when I was growing up, I'm young, I'm 18. So growing up, I that was like it was unacceptable to do that because now like when I was growing up, there were strict rules against that kind of stuff. You couldn't fight back. It didn't matter what they were doing to you. If you fought back, you ended up in the wrong, and that sucked. It made it even harder. It made it even harder. We got my older brother once um he fought with my bully. Like he straight up he walked out. He watched the kid kind of push me to the ground, and then the kid kicked me, and all of a sudden my older brother and his football captain best friend shows up, and they're 7 years older than us, and they really went down on that kid, and then his two brothers came out, and it was like a big brawl, and because of that, we after that situation, we essentially got bullied. We like my family got bullied outside of bullied into leaving our complex. You know,
Oh
the
wow.
everybody around us they didn't want us around because they were saying, oh yeah, like we're the fucking problem. Like we're the fucking problem. Like no, fuck you. Like I sat dealing with that kid for years, and we were the problem, and we were the ones that had to leave. That it sucked. Um, so it was a weird kind of period. It was a really weird period growing up.
Man, I mean, honestly, that you're a brave man.
Thank you.
I mean, to be able to, because like I said, I do these, I edit them, and then it's going to go up on YouTube, and
Yeah.
your story is going to be shared, and hopefully, it does what the purpose of writing the song is supposed to do
Yeah.
is touch other people to about bullying. It's a huge problem.
It is, and it sucks. But again, like I'm thankful.
Do we have a? It said, well, somebody just joined and left. Was you guys expecting someone else to join or join?
Maybe Pierce or Nathan tried to join.
Yes, it said Pierce, I think.
Yeah, then yeah, it's all good. He's fine.
No, he exited out. So
Yeah, that's all good. It was supposed to be just it's supposed to be just Shane and I today, but I guess he didn't
no
read the
problem. The more the
text.
merrier, man. So Shane, what's your story, buddy? I mean, you got any bully related stories, or was you just behind your bandmate and your friend here with like, hell yeah, let's write this song?
I was just like, hell yeah, write this song. Thankfully and luckily, I never had any experience close to yours. I grew up in a good school. I had some good friends, so thankfully, yeah, I didn't have to go through the trauma or experiences that you had to go through.
Now, to be fair, I was a weird kid. I mean, but that doesn't make it acceptable. But you know what I mean.
And I mean, weird isn't bad. I mean, it's look at where you're at now.
I'm still a weird guy too. I mean, it's like, and I'm so that's why I always say like I'm grateful for having that experience because without it, I don't think I'd be the same. I don't think I would have accepted who I was as early as I did. And I
Yeah.
think that's what I'm grateful for, and that's what I want to share with people is how I got to that point and how exciting it is to get to that point. Because everybody deserves some sort of contentness in them, and I think it's important to go through struggles to reach it.
Right. And I another thing with with music is it's an outlet. It's almost therapeutic.
Yeah,
So when you're feeling these emotions and you write them down and you turn it into a song and you got your boys behind you playing the music and stuff, and it comes out to just the way you visualized it in your head. It's like it's therapy, man. I mean,
yeah,
and it's that for people that are experiencing the same thing that you have, or whatever the song may be, that the message that the artist is trying to get across, us as fans and as listeners and whatever, we feel that too. And I feel like as a musician, that has to be one of the most gratifying feelings, to know that you are touching people's lives.
It really is. It's just that's the purpose of writing songs like these. Is because I want people to understand that it's okay. You know, everything's gonna be fine,
Right.
and especially young kids. It's scary. It's scary to think that we're in a world where anybody can say anything over the internet and nothing needs to happen. Like
Right.
no repercussions. There's nothing, and obviously that's part of having, free speech and free will, like do it. But I want the people who feel attacked by those kinds of things, I want them to know that not only is it normal to feel attacked, but there's ways you can fight back that
Right.
aren't going to harm you, that aren't going to put you in danger, that's not going to harm anybody else. There's ways that you can really fight back and make yourself feel amazing about it.
Dude, I love it, man. I mean, that's great stuff.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I mean that's our message, and that's what we want to give out to everybody. We want everybody.
So what did you guys think of the Shinedown song, Bully?
I actually haven't heard it.
I haven't heard it either.
I haven't heard it.
Lord, you guys got to check that out, man.
Yeah.
It's a really good song about the same subject, but they put their spin on it, and there's a lot of songs out there right now about it. I mean, because it's a huge subject.
Yeah,
I mean,
especially
they talk about teen suicide and this and that, and the teen suicide is mostly coming from people being bullied.
yeah, yeah,
You
and it's
know?
awful. It's so awful. It pushes people to a point that they don't deserve to be at.
Right.
You know, and it makes people feel a certain way about themselves that they shouldn't feel. Because everybody's got some sort of unique trait that blows everything else out of the water, and that's what I feel that some, especially teenagers, don't understand, is that sometimes it's difficult to feel unique when you're getting put down for all the things that you love doing.
Yeah. And I agree with you 100%, man. And like I said, I really appreciate you sharing that. And I mean, that's I can't think of a word that I could use other than courageous, and I think maybe your song, and you being on YouTube and everything, talking about this, will maybe you know convince other people to have the courage to come out and say how they feel about it.
That's the only hope we can give. That's the only hope we can give. And if not, then it's a fucking cool song. We love the song. I mean, so it's like it's fun. We really do. We love this song. I mean, it's
Yeah.
so much fun to play on stage. So it's like it's fun to give that to people in their homes too, and have people listen to it and give us their feedback. It's fun, like just hearing, especially just as from the music standpoint.
What's your reception been for it, with when you're playing live? Do you get, does the crowd really get into it?
People really do get into it, and that's been my favorite part about some of the new songs that we're putting together is people are super into them, and they sing them back. Like the song.
Mm-hmm.
The song has that bully, and people are like able to shout it back, and that's the coolest fucking thing. I mean, I swear to God, it's like when we're in a good crowd who's got a lot of energy and who are super stoked about the song. After the first chorus, they understand what the word is, so they're just like they're all over it, and it's so fun.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
And there's like a breakdown bridge kind of part in the song, and there's a bunch of shouting, and it's always fun to just hear everyone shouting the one or two words back that they just heard for the first time.
Yeah, I mean that's been our kind of like the adrenaline we get, the dopamine we get from hearing people sing it back to us is awesome. It's just incredible. It's one of our.
I bet. I've mentioned that in quite a few of my interviews, man, because I mean, as a kid, I've always thought about that. Like, you see the huge concerts that they had at, like, in South America or whatever, where there's 100,000 people, and this band is playing, and the crowd is singing the song back to him. And I was like, that has to be one of the most amazing feelings. I'd probably just like freaking faint right on
I
stage.
try. I mean, it's crazy. It's crazy, especially like you mentioned, South America, right? Or even like it happens a lot in Japan, where because there's a
Mhm.
lot of super fans in Japan, and it's crazy how there's a major language barrier in those countries, yet still everybody can come together and sing the song perfectly to the artist. You know, like it's crazy to me. Like when you see like Queen, right? They had their live from Japan album that they did. And they the entire crowd sang back "Love of My Life." You know,
Yeah.
it's super famous moment because you know like that happened. They showed it in the movie. The entire crowd, and this is a crowd of people whose first language is not English.
Right.
They're singing this song perfectly back to Queen, and it blows my mind how music can change people and change people's perceptions of how that works. You know, it's weird.
Well, I mean, that's kind of like, Ozzy Osbourne. If you've ever heard the dude talk, you're like, huh? But he
Yeah,
gets on stage and his singing is impeccable.
it is, and it's
It's
like
weird.
it's just incredible to me that music can transcend the barrier of of normal, you know, everyday speech. I mean, that's what blows my mind. That's one of the biggest reasons why I love music so much is because it breaks so many barriers in the
And
world.
that's why I call it a universal language,
Yeah,
because
yeah,
everybody understands music. And I mean, dude, I interviewed last night a guy that is originally from Scotland. He lives in Florida now, but the rest of his band all lives in Europe. Um,
yeah,
I've done interviews with people from Italy, Finland, Germany, and they speak good English, but it's not their mother tongue, and
yeah.
I actually have a guy that I'm going to talk to on Sunday that is in a Russian metal band, which is pretty badass. I mean,
That's pretty
they
fucking cool.
got a killer sound to them, and he was like, "Well, my English isn't that great," and I said, "Dude, it don't matter.
Doesn't matter.
We'll figure it out."
The
So
music itself.
and he's excited as can be about it. Sent me a friend's request on Facebook and everything, and I'm like, hey man, I do this to because I love music. Just the
Yeah,
same reason why you do it. And
yeah,
I want to expose bands that don't have all the exposure that they deserve. And
yeah,
if I can ever get this to where I want it, I mean, it's going to be a huge outlet for independent artists to come in and to get on my website and upload their new music, and that way it gets out through the web, it gets out through YouTube,
yeah,
out through my social media,
yeah.
because
It was a big deal.
yeah, I mean, and that's all, that's pretty much all you guys got these days is social media and stuff, because the days of MTV and stuff where it was, you submit a video that you spent like $150,000 on,
Yeah.
MTV, and it comes on like, 10 times a day. Those days are over.
It's gone, and you know it does make everything a lot more complicated, but it opens up new avenues too, and that's what I'm excited. That's what I like about the modern age is the amount of places things can end up being. You
Oh
know,
yeah. So what's your plans for 2023? I mean, we got some touring planned. You know,
nothing in the books yet when it comes to touring. We're talking about maybe doing a couple stints, a small, just couple weeks in the summer. We're also talking about just kind of riding the summer out and spending the time, making music, and getting ready to release kind of an album, and see how that works. We're definitely planning on releasing more singles as we go.
yeah.
Uh, so that won't be an issue, and we're playing shows constantly always, and we're playing at least a couple shows a month in Southern California, and that's not stopping anytime soon. So
And you guys got some of the biggest venues ever out there. I mean, the Whiskey, the Viper Room, you know.
yeah, they're all amazing venues. We feel so lucky to be able to be out in California where everybody kind of knows the significance of the places that you're playing, and
Right.
everybody understands how how much those places have changed the course of history, almost. Like
Oh yeah.
because it really is. Like the whiskey is where Axl Rose used to climb up to the roof and meditate when he was mad. Like and stuff. Small things like that where it's like it's really awesome.
No, I mean Motley Crue got their start there. I mean, yeah, I mean, just there's a lot of history. I mean, it's like we have one here in Columbus. It's called the Newport Music Hall. It used to be called the Columbus Algora.
Yeah,
It is actually the longest consecutive running rock venue in the United States.
that's awesome.
And my brother said he actually got drunk with Angus Young from AC/DC 1978. They played there.
That's awesome.
I'm like, dude, I was 2.
Yeah,
So,
that's
but
awesome.
I mean, it's the history of them places, man. And that place has not changed. You walk in there, it smells like freaking beer and urine. And I mean, it's just an old cathedral looking place. But
Yeah, these venues definitely have a good scent to them.
yeah, yeah, but you think of the history, I mean, and you guys are playing on the same stage as that. And that's just like, that's got to be an amazing feeling. You just to think of,
Close our minds sometimes. Like it is crazy. It's crazy to think about. But it's beautiful. It's exciting. And especially, anytime we get a chance to play at the Whiskey, it's always a treat. It's always fun. And we always have a blast. Especially like when we've got a good crowd at the Whiskey, it
Mhm.
feels awesome. It's just awesome.
So how many do you know how many people that venue holds?
I was about to say
I think 500.
500.
Yeah.
Man, it's hard to believe something that small that has spawned so much talent.
I know. It is hard to believe. It's insane. Like some of the best of the best started there.
I mean, what was it? Chris Farley died right outside the Viper Room. I mean,
So did Joaquin Phoenix.
yeah, the
They both
freaking history in that town, man. You're definitely fortunate to be there.
River Phoenix. My bad.
yeah.
Yeah, River.
It's like I just saw the Joker.
And you're like, wait a second.
So
No.
what is it got you and this is kind of an individual question. What is it that got you guys into music? I mean, I know you kind of told me your story of being bullied and stuff, but like what was it that really caught your ear and you thought this is what I want to do?
Well, I'll give you notes for
I
this one.
never really like had a clear transition. It like I was 5 years old when I first got my drum set. Uh, my parents were one day at church. I just got up on the drum set and started playing, and they were like, "Whoa, he's actually not that bad." So they just got me a drum kit, and then it just from that point on, I never had like a moment that made me want to play music. It was always there.
No. Yeah, and for me, I grew up singing a little bit. Just like when my parents would have friends over and do like drunk karaoke parties, I'd hang around and join them, and things like that. Where I was just a big extrovert when I was very little, and then as I started to pull in and really stop going out and doing things, I picked up the guitar over singing, just because it was less expressive,
Right.
just for me. So it was like I didn't want to show. I didn't want to. I felt that it was embarrassing that I was singing, so I didn't want to be embarrassed and pushed further. So I picked up the guitar because my dad plays guitar,
Okay.
and I was like, oh, like that's cool. I can do that instead of singing. And after a while, my dad's like, dude, like you got to quit guitar and start singing. You're a good guitar player, but you got a better voice than you do guitar skills. And I'm like, okay, well maybe you're right. And it was also kind of out of necessity. We couldn't find any singers either, so it's a good point to like, because I was putting together a band at the time, and it was a good point for me to just stop and start singing.
Right.
And so that's what I did is I stopped playing guitar and started singing. And after that, I just in love with it. I was super into when I was little. I was super into Michael Jackson, so it was like that was awesome. That it felt good to be singing. It felt good to be like kind of singing and moving around and kind of hanging out like that. It was good. And so that's where I finally figured out that music was going to be the thing that I wanted to do. Was as soon as I dropped the guitar, because the guitar is fun. I know how to play it, but it's not my preferred instrument,
Right.
So at that time, it was just like a hobby, playing guitar, and I was in school rock, which was like a little organized music thing. And at the time, it was just a hobby. And after I picked up singing again, it became my life.
We actually have one of those in Columbus. Somebody started a school of rock.
Oh yeah. I think I know exactly where you're talking about. But yeah.
Yeah. So, um, have you guys done many interviews?
We've
A
done
handful.
we've done a handful. We do interviews semi often. We try to do them every time we're releasing something.
Because I mean, you honestly give such a detailed description to every question, and that is awesome.
Thank you so much. Yeah,
I,
I like
I
to talk a lot.
it's I mean, like there's some that are really hard. Like, have you ever heard of Doyle from the Misfits, guitar
Yes.
player? I talked to him and it was yes, no, yes, maybe. I was like, holy shit. I could not get a rise out of the guy. And
Yeah,
I didn't even post it because it was so horrible. And his publicist told me, he says, you have to engage him in conversation. Well, he was on tour, so he was on the road. I actually did the interview on a phone.
yeah.
And man, it was tough.
Wow,
So it's really cool to talk to people that
thank you
are
so much.
able to be expressive and just say, hey, this is where this came from, this is how I feel, and you know
Thank you.
I
Thank you.
appreciate it.
I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. That means a lot.
So 2023 we're going to release some singles, we're going to play some local shows, uh any festivals that you might want to try to hit?
I mean, we always want to try and hit festivals. That's not even a question. But it's tough. It's tough. There's a lot of competition out there, and there's a lot of bands that want that just have better connections than we do. So it's tough to say what festivals we can try and get into. But I know, like, if we had the opportunity to get into any festival, I'd love to be in Bottle Rock, at Bottle Rock in Napa, and then Ohana is always amazing. It's just a lot of fun.
What's
Uh,
the one out there in Indio? Oh, it's
who plays there usually? What kind of bands?
it's usually a mix between like alternative rap and rock. Um,
Oh, is that Coachella?
yes,
Yeah,
Coachella.
yeah, yeah. That one's a good one. I mean, I would love to get. Obviously, I'd love to get on Coachella. Like, there's just a ton. I would love to be on all the festivals if we could, uh, just for the fun of it. They seem like a fucking blast.
Oh yeah. Well, fellas, I mean, you guys got a great publicist. I've been working for Sean or with Shauna for like about a year now. Um,
Yeah, she's amazing.
yeah, the woman, she loves her bands. She takes care of her bands. She does everything she can for them. She has pushed so many bands my way, and I'm always like yes, yes, yes. I've never turned a band down from any of the publicists that I work for. So because it's not my they don't deserve to not be able to be heard. You know what I mean? I don't care if like your music or not. It's still you're making music, and you're expressing yourselves through your music, and it's only fair that I give you a shot. I mean, like a
Yeah,
lot of people like oh my god, Nirvana. I really could not stand Nirvana. But
yeah,
if Nirvana was in front of me right now, I would be talking to him just like I am with you guys. I'm not gonna say, well, you guys, yeah, music sucks, but and that's
yeah.
that you can't put somebody down for their art. That's not fair. And
Art
especially
is subjective.
right, and especially when you're putting your personal feelings into it like you are, and a lot more artists are doing that now.
Yeah, yeah, because it's just getting more important. I mean, we're kind of sick of, you know, songs about drugs and sex.
Yeah.
And Star, I
That's
mean,
what that's what I grew up on. I mean, so I know how that shit works, buddy. I mean, I've done it. The drugs, the sex, the rock and roll. I got the T-shirt.
yeah,
Even made my own. So, but no, I get it. It is really cool to write about the important issues, and I think there was a while there where we had like Rage Against the Machine and stuff where everybody was trying to go political,
yeah,
And yes, politics are an important subject, but I don't think they should be brought into music.
I agree. I agree. I think politics need to stay out of art, just in
Right.
general.
Right. And with, with your feelings, with your people that are getting bullied, people that are being hurt by, a woman's hurt by a man, not physically, but just, by a breakup or whatever, and she writes a song about it. I mean, that's just as good. I mean, I'd rather hear about some girl getting dumped than I would about, the current president.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I totally agree. I would much rather hear music that appeals emotionally.
Yes.
Because emotions are never going to change.
Right.
You know, if emotions, think of them as a constant. Everybody's going to feel sad at one point in their lives.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody needs something to relate to at that point in their life. But not everybody's going to not dislike, the current House representatives, whatever, right? Like, and I'm just throwing that out because I don't really care or pay attention. And, I don't, like I just don't. But nobody like gives a shit because in 5 years' time, there's gonna be new ones.
Right.
We're just gonna deal with the new ones, like it doesn't matter. Nobody cares. Nobody is gonna long term care. I mean, it's always funny when you see like memes about the future civilizations coming and discovering us and our year. I'm like, you really think the future civilizations are really gonna give a fuck? I mean, it's just do we give a fuck which Neanderthal was the most powerful?
Right.
No, we don't fuck. We just give a fuck that they existed and that they changed the course of our history. Like that's all that matters. And unless we end up blowing ourselves to hell, it's not really going to matter all that much.
Which nowadays, who knows?
But it's that's the climate that we're in, and there's nothing we can do about it. And writing about it to me just seems rudimentary. It just seems pointless.
Right.
It just seems it's like kicking a dead horse. It's nothing you can do about it. It's just.
I agree. All right, guys. Well, I really appreciate your time this evening. And
thank you so much for taking the time and interviewing us.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
We really do. It means a lot.
And I mean, best of luck to you in 2023. Maybe let's say about fall, we could do this again, catch up with you, see how things have gone, where you're at. I like to do follow-up interviews. I just did one not too long ago that was a lot of fun. So yeah.
Fuck yeah, we'd be so stoked about that.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, you guys have a good evening and thank you again for being on.
Awesome. You too. Thanks so much.
You.
Have a good one.
Later.